welcome to another episode of Flag Stays Down podcast, a world champion podcast for a world champion club with world champion listeners. Boys, it's good to be back. How are we doing on this world champion Sunday?
I'm tired. It's been a fun last couple days. Yesterday I went golfing. So I was able to have a little bit of a break from being a 24/7 dad, and went out and played golf with my dad, my brother, and my uncle. So it was a really good time. It was a beautiful day out. So couldn't really ask for much better. And then today we had my family reunion. It's a very massive gathering of Polacks. I think in total there were 340 people there. So it's not like my immediate family. So my family's not that big. It basically comes from my great grandparents. My great grandma was one of 11 kids. So it's how everything branches off of those 11 kids. So it's quite a lot. So we were there about 10 o'clock today, got home a little bit before 7 o'clock this evening. So a very long day. So I'm happy that everybody's now asleep. I can relax for a little bit and then see what we have in store for tomorrow. But it's all been good to spend time with family and see everybody. So super fortunate to be able to do that. Parks, how are things with you?
Things are good, but do you get like free childcare at those things? Can you just like, pass the kiddos off and like let one of the other Maciejewskis do their thing?
So what's actually hilarious is my cousin, she has two daughters, and they are, I think, 12 and 9. They basically took my son and my niece with them wherever they wanted to go, and we basically had built-in babysitters the entire time. Molly was hanging out with Brooks, and just kind of passing him off to whoever wanted him. But yeah, it was great. My two second nieces, whatever, they just took care of the kids. It was fantastic. So my wife and I got to do some of the adult activities like egg toss and water balloon toss. In my defense, there were no rules saying that you had to throw underhand. So when I threw overhand during the egg toss, I guess I got in trouble. I don't understand how that's a thing, but you live and you learn.
Yeah, rules are meant to be broken.
Yeah, but no, it was a really good time. So it's been quite an eventful and busy weekend, but all good.
Sick. Our weekend been pretty good. We went to the Boulder Farmers Market today. Collins, I sent you a picture because last time you were in town, it was the Boulder Art Fair, and we just happened to hit on the Boulder Art Fair again. We didn't try to go when you guys were in town. We didn't try to go today, and kind of lucked into it. So, no, it's been fun so far. But then rewinding the clock, it wasn't too long ago where I was in Milwaukee seeing you guys. So it's fun to get the whole crew back together. Thank you, Matt, for hosting us and cooking for us, and Collins for providing the bevs. But yeah, it's been fun we've been all over the place this summer, and it feels like it's been a lot, but it feels awesome to just kind of get out and do stuff and not be tied down and see friends, see family, go on adventures, go do all the things. So it's been fun. I've got a cousin coming to visit this coming up Thursday, so knowing me, I've already like planned out the full menu and gotten grocery shopping for all the things. But I've got like 2.5 weeks straight where I'm not traveling, boys. So that's cool. I'm gonna just kind of figure out what that kind of life is like. So it's all's good. All's good over here in Colorado. And I'll just, prelude to the conversation, but I did get to go to the pub to watch Chelsea, win the last of the trophies that they needed to complete the set. So that was wonderful. Shout out to the British Bulldog for hosting a raucous crowd that was packed to the brims. So it was super fun. Collins, how you doing?
I'm good. I mean, Matt, your story explains why there was no traffic on the south side or when I was down there earlier today. But no, it's good. You know, it's been kind of a roller coaster week. Obviously, Parker was great when you came into town. God, was that 2 weeks ago now? Immediately after that, went to Cancun. Got back this week after watching Chelsea play on Sunday. Then we had kind of a Black Friday at work this week. So been a little bit of a roller coaster. Luckily, I survived, which is good. Hit up Bastille Days here in Milwaukee, which is always a blast. Yeah, gotta get my good French food, and I'm smoking some meat, so I can't complain. But boys, let's talk about that Club World Cup. We've got a special edition episode that's gonna be coming out about the same time as this. I talked with our friend Ethan, Manchester City fan, Ford Madison fan, about his take on the tournament. But now that it's all wrapped up from a Chelsea perspective, before we even get into the game, from a Chelsea perspective, what does this tournament mean to you guys?
I don't know. I'm very torn on the idea of a Club World Cup because you were missing. You're missing, I think, some of the biggest teams in the world, so to speak, like Barcelona or just that kind of caliber of teams. Like, yes, these are clubs that have won their league, so to speak, or whatever. But I still hold the Champions League in higher regard than I do the Club World Cup. I think when you look at some of the teams that were there, like, you weren't expecting much out of them. Like, you just kind of know. Where I feel like the Champions League, you're getting the best of the best in Europe. Like, I'm not expecting a huge showing from the South American clubs, although they did do fairly well. I still rank the European clubs much higher than I do South American clubs and stuff like that. So again, like, I'm glad we won it. I don't to call it the Club World Cup. I get it, but to me it's still not like the best of the best. I think that, I don't know. It's just the way that it's kind of represented. I'm not too interested in it, and the fact that it happens over summer, when you have now transfers and people going in and out and people just kind of coming into the squad right away, and they call it a continuation of last season, but it's not. It's already the start of the new season. So it's in essence, I kind of look at it as a glorified preseason tournament.
Collins, what do you think?
That was, to spoiler alert, that was Ethan's take too. It's a preseason tournament. It's a warm up for the season. I don't know. That sounds like and Matt, you're not gonna fall into this category, but that sounds like the way to explain it away if you didn't win it. But it's the same as the World Cup to me. Yeah, obviously not. The World Cup is its own thing, right? That it's A1. But it's same thing. Like, outside of Inter Miami, you had to qualify for it. You had to win your Confederations tournament. So yeah, we're missing Barcelona. We're missing some of the. So Barcelona might be the only one I can think of that maybe could have been in it. Liverpool, but they really haven't done shit in Europe. You got to win to get in. Chelsea won in this window. We got in. And to say that, oh, maybe Wyatt FC or Auckland City or whoever, like, doesn't deserve to be in it. It's a World Cup. They qualified their way in. So yeah, looking at it from the actual World Cup perspective, is it a World Cup if Italy doesn't qualify? Yeah, it's still a World Cup. Is it a World Cup if the US doesn't qualify? Yeah, it's still a World Cup. These things happen. That's a part of the fun of it. And to the fans of teams that didn't make it, sorry. But we played big teams. I think, played big South American teams. Part of it was luck of the draw. but we could have went through a gauntlet of City, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, PSG, like all of that. We just happened to luck into the other side of the draw. I thought it was good. It was good to see clubs from all over. It was good to see how the Brazilians stacked up against European teams. Good to see Al Ali put together a decent performance, or no, Al Hilal, sorry, put up a decent performance representing the Saudi league. And at the end of the day, you got to beat who's in front of you. So it's a major competition. It's not going away. FIFA is going to continue to run this, and it's going to continue to be. I think what Enzo Maresca said of, at some point this is going to be one of the biggest tournaments in the world. I 100% agree. I think as the tournament went on and people got over the Americanness of it, even though we had no real say in how these things were dictated, I think there's a lot to like in this tournament, and I think it grew as the tournament went on. So I'm glad we won the first one. We will forever be etched on that trophy as A1. Then for the next 4 years, we get a patch.
Yeah, the most frustrating part about this tournament for me is having to explain it to American fans that don't understand it. And I think part of that goes to sort of the branding of this tournament, that the Club World Cup was something, and they're just completely kind of ignoring that to the point where they're calling former Club World Cup winners something different now, retroactively or going forwardly.
Intercontinental champions.
Yeah, so I have a patch that says FIFA Club World Champions 2021 on my jersey right here, and apparently that's not what we call that anymore. But so I think like the branding of the tournament, like it makes sense to make it every 4 years. It makes sense to kind of expand it and have it be in a similar format. Makes sense to have it follow the host nation of the World Cup. All these things like make sense logically. I just don't think they did a very good job of explaining it because it wasn't super clear to all of us, and we are in the 1% or the 0.5% of like football followers, especially in our nation. But like we are like the diehards that follow it. Our team's a part of it. And it's still like not super clear to us about how all this stuff works. So that's been annoying. As far as the tournament, I mean, there's a lot of big teams on this tournament. I think the former Club World Cup was somewhat of a joke because the winner of Europe typically took it. And some years that didn't, but like it was either us or Cannonball who won it, and it was kind of a tournament that was single elimination. It was like 3 or 4 matches, and it wasn't really a thing. So I think they did a good job of kind of expanding it out. I don't fully know how everyone qualified. I looked this up quick, but it looks like, qualified as continental champions is its own group of people, and then qualified via rankings. And so it says that the below represents clubs that have mathematically qualified through their Confederation Club ranking during the same 4 year period, which means to me Liverpool could have qualified even without winning the Champions League had they done shit in Europe in that 21 to 24 period. Teams like Bayern Munich, PSG, Borussia Dortmund, Inter, FC Porto, Atleti, Juventus are all teams that qualified that way. So like that is a direct representation of Liverpool as a club for not getting into this tournament, not us luckily winning the Champions League to get into this tournament. Like they had every chance to get in here. And I fully expect them as a club to be in it next go around. And I fully expect them to take it seriously when it comes up. I mean, you just look at the rosters of teams that that people played, and you realized quickly that people were not taking this tournament softly. Like, not only was there big prize money up at stake, FIFA kind of threatened it early on. They said you have to play your guys. Like, we will not allow you to use this as a preseason tournament. And just throw your scrubs in there, which is kind of funny. But people didn't. People took it seriously. I felt like we put out our best 11 or best 15 or whoever most games, and we had to rotate folks in, and we can debate like the likes of seeing Nkunku out there and is he part of our plans going forward. We can debate that at a different time, but I thought that for the most part you got Chelsea's best look, and or close to it most times. So solid tournament. Collins, to your point, I'm happy we're the first winners of it. I'm happy we get a patch for the next 4 years. I'm happy that we get to fund a lot of our transfers and a lot of the incomings that we're planning, plus a fine, being a fine that we picked up along the way. But that's all right. Like, it's kind of yesterday's news. If we pick up a fine of 30 and we net 120, it's like easy business right there. So overall, I thought It was great, and I think like the learning curve of teaching people what this is will start to come. People have already been like texting me. Like I got a guy who's a habitual gambler who calls me when he bets on Chelsea, and he's like, "Hey, what's this Club World Cup thing?" And I was telling him what it was, and I'm happy to say that he put money on PSG and lost dearly. And I told him that it was a stupid bet when he did it, and I get drinks on him next time I see him. So good on me.
So let's transition to the game itself because I think one of the things about the teams taking this seriously, you look at the way PSG lost that game, how they reacted at the end of it. You look at the way City reacted after losing and getting knocked out. Real Madrid the same way. Players were certainly taking it seriously. And we'll get to PSG's reaction in a minute here. But Parker, you touched on Nkunku, who came on in that final. In fact, I think he came on in all but one match in this tournament. It, under previous management, it seems like, hey, once you're frozen out, you're frozen out, right? Do you think Nkunku has a shot at staying this year? I know there's still rumors about him outgoing, but does he have a role to play this year? We saw it last year with Trev being exiled, coming back out of necessity and winning over the heart of the manager to the point where he's now considered, definitely a part of that squad. Is Nkunku the same way?
I'll answer this quickly, and I'll just say I hope so. I still like him. I've probably been the biggest fan of his on this podcast, and I wish things went better for him in his time at Chelsea. I think there's a hell of a player in there. I think he needs to kind of get his mind right and figure out his attitude a little bit as it relates to Chelsea. But if there's a shot for him to be part of it, I think that he could be an important part, an important like second tier role. Definitely not a first tier role on our team, but definitely a nice second tier role for us.
This is going to sound really bad, but whatever. Who cares? You look at the depth that we have. We brought in two strikers, two very capable strikers, as we have already seen. Do we even need him? Is he just a luxury at this point? Is he just going to be a very expensive player on the bench, a very expensive, I wouldn't even call him a super sub, but a sub? That's kind of where I'm at with him. He has had time to get himself acclimated to the Premier League, to Chelsea, to all that stuff, and he has not done it in the way that I think everybody expected him to. I don't know if that means he's kind of accepted this role, because if you're a player like Christopher Nkunku, you come over for big money, you start that preseason, goes pretty well for you. You start off strong, and then you have the injury at, I think it was Soldier Field, wasn't it, in Chicago? You have that injury, that sidelines you. You come back, you're doing okay, and then again, another injury like that. It's tough, but at the same time, I don't think he's done enough to earn his spot. Yeah, he tore up the Conference League. Fantastic. But he was used in the 85th minute when Nico Jackson had run himself into the ground, because we really didn't have anybody else to throw up top, right? We were more or less running like a one striker system. Right now you currently have four strikers, if you include Nkunku, right? You have four. Even if you get rid of him and Jackson, you still have two, which I am more than okay with. I don't see a real need for Nkunku to be on the books at Chelsea. I just don't see it.
See, I think he is, because I think he not only provides cover at that striker role, he provides cover in the Cole Palmer role. Before that was João Felix. It was, hey, João Felix and Cole Palmer can't play together. So one comes in for the other. We're going to be playing a pretty hectic schedule this year with Champions League, new expanded Champions League. I think Nkunku's going to get plenty of chances. And I think what's most telling about this is we saw two other attackers in this squad. João Felix doesn't even get invited, doesn't come with. Hendry Paez got invited and, got to tag along with the team. João Felix didn't even get that. And Noni, who gets sold 2 days before the final because he doesn't want to be there. He gets awestruck by Arsenal and decides, no, I'm out. So the club grant that request. If Nkunku wanted to go, I feel like he would have been gone. There's a part of me that thinks maybe he wants to, fight for a spot, make himself look a little better than he did over the last year and a half before another move or becoming a starter, right? I'm for it. I'm for guys who are hungry. I saw Christopher Nkunku run more in this tournament than I did over the entirety of last season. He looked like he had energy. He looked like he cared. So I'm not going to jinx it with the redemption tour hashtag, but I don't mind it. If he wants to be here, I don't mind it. Like Parker said, he's got the skill, and I think he provides cover in quite a few different spots for us.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say about this is like knowing Maresca, we watched Ben Chills not get a shout even when like he should have gotten a shout. Like it was a match where he could have gotten a shout. He's not playing guys that aren't part of the future plan. Like he's not there to boost value. Like he doesn't seem like he cares about that shit. It's like, no, I'm here to win games and I'm going to play the guys that are here to win games. And like you saw people like Noni Madueke get the axe, if you will, part of this tournament. Like he didn't play as much in this tournament as he had. We shifted things around. We moved Palmer out to a right wing. We put Enzo kind of in that 10 role and we played Neto on the left. Like, we have ways of working around problem children. And so I think, there's no problem with not playing Nkunku. Like he wouldn't have brought him, you wouldn't have played him if he was an issue or if he was on the way out. So it tells me that there might be a role here and maybe not, but there might be.
So I do want to talk a little Enzo Maresca. Matt, I'm sure is going to love this take, but I think Enzo Maresca has announced himself. I think he's solidified himself. It would not surprise me if in the next couple of weeks he's given an extension to his contract. I know it was already a 5-year deal, but typically when you win multiple trophies, you're at least given a little pay bump, right? And I know, again, the competition in this tournament, we lucked into that side of the bracket, but now in a matter of 6 weeks, he's won a European trophy and he's won a FIFA trophy. He outclassed tactically a PSG team who ran over Europe this year. Arsenal claim, yeah, okay, we were close. Yeah, okay, we manhandled them. And they were very clearly pissed about it with the reaction at the end of that game. Where, Matt's going to love this question. Matt, where would you rank Maresca 1 to 20 in Premier League managers, current Premier League managers?
Is Sean Dyche on that list?
Yeah, where the fuck is he right now? I don't even know. He's still at Everton? I mean, he's number 1.
That's why I said it.
Well, he's 1A and Big Sam is 1B.
You can kind of combine those two together.
Like Kepa's 2.
Big Sam Dyche.
There's a joke in there somewhere just by saying it, but we won't go there right now.
Oh yeah, big time.
I would say he's top 5. I don't know where I would put him necessarily. I don't think I put him at 1. I think Pep has still got to be 1. His body of work is outstanding. I think then you start looking at, I have to give Arne Slot, I have to give him credit for yes, he inherited a very good Liverpool team. Don't get me wrong. But the fact that you can transition like that and still keep up that same level, I think was very impressive. And I mean, I've always been a fan of Unai Emery. I know he hasn't always had the greatest of luck as far as, winning things. He did have a stint at Arsenal. He had a stint at PSG. But he's kind of brought, for a while, he was bringing teams kind of back into the light. With Villa, he got him back. He got him into Champions League, like within 6 months or something like that, or maybe within his first season back. So I think he's definitely in the top 5. I'm not sure, again, where I'd rank him, but I would say with what he's done, and this is like the definition of recency bias, what he has done recently gets him into that top 5. I think if you look at his body of work as a Chelsea manager, I think you're looking probably a little bit more mid-table. If you're taking the full scope of his tenure, I think you're looking maybe a little bit more mid-table. But if we're looking, the last 6 weeks or the last, 2 months, even 3 months, I would say then you're definitely in top 5 talks, no question.
So I found this question tough to answer because the list of like great Premier League managers, like a great like Brentford manager doesn't necessarily mean he would be a great Chelsea manager. So, but you said great Premier League manager, and so you have to kind of include the middle pack and sort of relegation people in there as well as just great managers. My list is relatively simple of who I like as managers, and it would be Pep, Nuno, Thomas Frank, and then I would put our guy Enzo. Just of like, and again, Matt alluded to it, but like there's just not enough body of work for Enzo Maresca yet. Just purely straight of what he has been able to accomplish in the limited time he has. He's done great. But there are other more tenured managers in the Premier League who have bigger bodies of work. So I look, and I don't say that to slight him at all. I say that as a vote of confidence of where he is and what he's been able to do in the short time he's been with us. And it seems like we're on the right path. It's funny the Arteta versus Maresca memes that I've seen, and Arteta's in phase 6, and Maresca's still in phase 1, and we've already, added more hardware to the chest than Arsenal. So I commend him for what he's been able to do. I commend him for what he's, sort of been able to rally and get people sort of singing from the same hymnal. But I credit the vision, like sort of the long-term vision of our managers as well. And our managers have gotten shit on for this sort of value prop of who we're going to sign and why. And largely it has paid off. And Maresca has somewhat to credit for that, but not all of it. Like he didn't sign a lot of those guys, and that's okay. I'm not saying he had to have, but the model is proving to work, and we are now sitting as one of the top teams in the world with one of the youngest squads in the world. And so I think like it's paying dividends quicker than people thought it would. And I think this Club World Cup definitely shines a big light on us. Now, if there's a regression from that, and then people are going to kind of, talk back at us and whatnot. If we don't take top 4, now, all the pressure's back on us to perform and whatnot. So I think like if you just look forward the next 2 years, this is where Maresca really earns it, really cements it. If he can take top 4, top 3 in the next couple of years, put some more hardware in the trophy cabinet and keep building, then I think like really he starts to earn his jobs. So that's where I stand. I hope I didn't offend you too much, Collins.
No, I get it, and I expected your response. I'll say that I did not expect Matt's, because Matt and I agree, and I don't know what it is about Matt not coming on the pod consistently, but you and I are starting to agree more. I have him 4th, Pep number 1, and then 2 through 2 and 3 is kind of up in the air, but Arne Slot. And then I like Nuno, but Marco Silva for me is 3 at Fulham. But and a lot of that's because of this, putting Enzo 4th there is because of the slump midseason. Just 7 months ago, we were talking about, there's people rumbling, hey, maybe we should go get Thomas Frank, or we should go do this, do that. That stuff's not lost on me. I get it. But again, he out-tacticked Luis Enrique, who is considered to be one of the best tactical managers in Europe. And I know it's a small sample size there. So that's point number 1. Point number 2 is the bigger one. He took a squad that everyone, pundits, fans, managers, had said, this is a group of individuals playing like a group of individuals. And yes, again, we had a rough patch. but he has turned this team into a team. Defensively, we look a lot more sound. I don't expect us to concede goals as much as I used to. You get to the 70th minute of a game, and you're like, okay, well, shit, we're going to need to score 2 here because we're going to give up 1 inevitably. I don't have that feeling over the last probably 6-8 weeks. But you can see also the camaraderie of the team and the way that they talk about each other. They talk about the manager, how quickly they play off of each other, how they know someone's going to be there when they're not, when they're not already there. He has turned this team around. And I think at Chelsea, of all clubs, that is a tremendous accomplishment. And I just want to leave it with one final thing, and that's my favorite quote from Mauricio Pochettino. 2 favorite quotes of his. Number 1, that we're a mid-table club. That's it's not my manager. And number 2, no one will ever love a manager after me as much as me, basically, is what he said. The very next manager, in fact, has surpassed him. And now Poch may not even make it to the World Cup with the U.S. So I think the correct decision has been made.
Matt, do you have anything else on this? Otherwise, I've got 2 points quick.
I'm like I said, I'm okay with it, again, based on what time period you're looking at. Mid-table slump. Yeah, I was Collins. I was Maresca out.
Oh, we know.
I was full blown. He's turned that around for me. Again, it's the PSG thing. Yes, we absolutely dismantled PSG, and that was something that I was not expecting in the slightest bit. It is one game. Yes, it's a final of the Club World Cup or whatever we're calling it now. It's one game. I'm looking at the entire scope of what he's done so far. Yes, it was rough at times. Yes, we've gotten to a better place. But to Parker's point, he still has a few years until we can actually start solidifying him and making sure that it's not just like, the Tuchel effect. Come in, start running roughshod all over Europe, and then all of a sudden things start hitting a downward spiral for 3 months, and then shit blows up, right? He's had almost the same amount of time, if not maybe a little less than Tuchel so far. So, I mean, there's still time to see what happens.
I think winning as a underdog in a cup final is just a Chelsea thing, really. Like, that's running into us as the underdog, man. I would hate to see it. I love to see it as a fan, but like I would hate to see it as the opponent. Just 2 quick things. One a disagreement, Collins. Our defense, I think is improving. I think it is one of our weaker areas on the pitch. I almost choked to say it, but like Bobby Sanchez was the reason we didn't concede any goals. It wasn't our defense that was like locking down. It was fucking Sanchez that absolutely, stood on his head in that game against PSG. He was the reason why we didn't concede any goals. And so shout out to him, man. He had a fucking hell of a game. Absolutely hell of a game. And he proved me very, very, very wrong. Like in that moment, he was like, absolutely, I'm here to fight. So shout out to him there. But we've mentioned the tactics, we've mentioned outclassing and out tacticking, Luis Enrique. The Neto decision was one of the most mind-blowing things I've ever seen in a cup final, but just how we utilized Neto as almost our left back and had Cucurella more times than not more advanced than Pedro Neto, but Neto tracking back with Hakimi was mind-blowing to me, and I've never seen it. It just absolutely shook me. It had to have just absolutely blown PSG's mind too, because seeing him that far back was ridiculous. Seeing Gusto as our like attacking, forward in the same sentence, it was just sort of masterful. So the fact that we have this kind of amorphous structure, and I was explaining this to my little brother because he's like, where does Palmer play? Is he like a 10 or is he like Hazard? And I was like, he starts off as a right winger, but he pops up wherever he wants to go. And I mean, we saw how we kind of caught people out with Gusto in that overlap, and that just absolutely just the first 2 goals flew through that way. So I mean, it is one game, but it's a very important game to get right, and Maresca pulled all the right strings there, and so I give him credit because Neto would be an attacking guy in any other game in any other system. He'd be as forward as he can be, but whipping balls in as he does. And he was not. He was almost used as a defender, and that was just it worked out brilliantly.
So that's a good point about the team kind of amorphous positions, right? Everybody just kind of floats. That was one of the things that Maresca actually said. I think it was like back in August or September in one of his first Chelsea FC video whatever things. Yeah, he said, "Hey, step one is going to be drilling these guys on what they need to be doing. Yeah, you're in this role. This is what you do. This is who you pass to. This is how you defend." Step two was giving them the freedom to then use those things that they learned and go about the pitch in those ways. So that's something that's really encouraging to me, is that we are now at that next step. And I think obviously we've got a couple weeks till the season starts, and it's going to depend on who all comes in. But we may see kind of like what we saw at the beginning of last season, where it's just kind of free flowing, run up and down the pitch kind of a deal, control the game when you need to. I think that's the very next step in this progression, and so it's definitely something I'm excited for. Well, talking about somebody who's free flowing, Parker, you mentioned Cole Palmer. Boy, he had a hell of a final, huh? He went through a slump towards the end of the season. Contributes now in 2 major finals.
Don't you dare say it. I will drive over there and slap the shit out of you if you say it.
No, I said it the last time after on our conference league pod, so I already know that he's back. But boys, how special is Cole Palmer? I mean, we had the conversation earlier in the year, not necessarily about him, but of a Chelsea hierarchy, right? Of Mount Rushmore. Obviously, hasn't been here long enough to be on a Mount Rushmore. But who's a player over the last 10, 15, 20 years that you would compare him to? What level is he at?
I don't think that's fair. Hear me out. I don't think it's fair to say like where he is at, and where he could be, and he can obviously be one of the greats. So what I'll say about Cole Palmer is he is a generational talent that has every opportunity to put himself on a Mount Rushmore. And that's like club and country. I mean, I feel like he's got the ability to do that at the England stage, at the Chelsea stage, and wherever he goes, whatever he does. Like, I hope he stays at Chelsea, but like, he is a generational talent. The way he sees the game and his body movement is just way beyond his years. Like, the way he can feint and the way he can just put people on ice skates, it just is unbelievable. So I don't know it's fair to compare him to other players in the same situation. Like, you can compare like goal contributions and results in finals, sure, but like I don't see anyone kind of mimicking his game for someone that we've seen. I mean, it's pretty unique the way he approaches it, and he does it with like almost this like calm demeanor of, you don't expect a guy like Cole Palmer to make you miss, but he has everybody out there on ice skates. So that's my answer. I know it's not a real answer.
No, it's good because you were kind of getting at where my mind is going to a little bit here. So I'll cut the crap with the question and just ask: is he at an Eden Hazard level? Could he surpass an Eden Hazard? Assuming he's here another 5 years. Yep. Is he truly generational? Eden Hazard was a generational talent for us. Better than, less than, same?
All I'll say is like, he doesn't have to surpass Aiden to be a generational. Like, Aiden Hazard was one of the best. But he has every ability to be at an Aiden Hazard level. Yeah. And it just like, when you just think about it, like of how teams have to game plan for us, he's going to attract talent. He's going to attract defenders, multiple defenders. And that was one of the most like telling parts about Aiden Hazard's game is Aiden Hazard's on the ball, 2.5 defenders are committed to him. at every second of that. 2 main and then 1 watching what he's doing, right? So he is going to attract every eyeball when he's got, the ball at his feet.
So I'm racking my brain trying to think of a comparison, and I keep coming back to like 3 different people, but all like different parts of them. So I think I've mentioned this before, but I definitely see him as like a Juan Mata type. Like he's gonna get his, but it's gonna be kind of sneaky how he does it. Now the difference is Cole Palmer is at the forefront. Mata had Aiden Hazard, right, to kind of let him do his thing. The other person I think about is Willian. I don't think when we signed him, we expected him to be as good as he ended up being for us. So I kind of see that comparison. And then when you start talking about a guy who you did not expect much from, like at all, or somebody who's like, who could, who's somebody that could just make you miss or whatever? Andre Schurrle? Like, you don't expect much of him, but when he needs to, he can go. So, like, those are the 3, and like I said, different components of them. But I feel like that's kind of where he is. He's kind of this mix of a lot of different things. Will Cole Palmer make the amazing runs that Hazard did during his time? No, not at all. He doesn't have the pace that Hazard did. I think Hazard was a much better dribbler of the ball than Cole Palmer currently is. But Hazard would just be able to take people and do whatever he wanted. Palmer sees the game a lot differently, and he knows what he's looking for. He's playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers, right? And the thing is, you can see it. Anytime he touches the ball, you can like feel what's going on in his head and what he's trying to do, like way more than anybody else on the pitch. It's crazy to see something like that. Do I think he could surpass Aiden Hazard as far as Chelsea lore? Maybe. It's a very tall order, but I think the potential is there. But I mean, we'll have to wait and see. He's off to a damn good start. If that's the goal, he's definitely making a lot of headway there.
Yeah, I think he could pass Aiden Hazard. I mean, the goal contributions are going to speak for themselves at some point. I mean, what was he have 72 goal contributions in less than 100 games or something like that? Just crazy, FIFA stats at this point. Sorry, EAFC, whatever the fuck it is now.
FIFA, fuck you.
Yeah, FIFA. Thank you. But Cole Palmer does have a bit of that, like when he gets the ball, like, ooh, I'm gonna sit up here, like just like Aiden Hazard. Aiden Hazard was a little different because he was on skates. Cole Palmer is very much like, I'm gonna meg you, I'm gonna spin you. That spin and then back heel he had against probably the world's second best left back, Nuno Mendes. Oh my God, that was something special. He's got it in him. You mentioned the feints and it gets the keeper to get on his ass every time. He's got a little bit of that in him, just in a different way. So, I think if he's here for the remainder of his contract, which God, I think is another 24 years, absolutely. But I look at this team though, not just Cole Palmer, but some of the core pieces. And I think back to the 2011-2012 Champions League, the team we had there. You have an Essien or Ramirez, whatever you want to call him, in Caicedo. You have a Juan Mata and Enzo Fernandez. We didn't have an Aiden Hazard at that point. So we got a nice addition in Cole Palmer there. Really all you need, Levi Colwell, I think, is on his way to becoming a John Terry at some point. Still way down the road. 8 years from now, maybe he'll be John Terry, but he's on his way there. You need a keeper and you need a striker, like you need a Didier Drogba.
Which I think brings us to our next topic, Collins, because
it sure does. Thank you.
Holy shit, we signed one mid-tournament. And he came to us mid-tournament.
So, yeah, got João Pedro. We also got one right before the tournament, and Liam Delap, who also did not look bad in that final, despite not scoring. Nico Jackson rumored to be on the market for $100 million. What's your best play at striker? What I mean, all right. Have you been that impressed with the other two that you would put him ahead of Nico Jackson?
Yeah.
He has more red cards than he does shots on goal in his last 3 matches.
All right, sorry. Put him ahead of Mark Yu.
I put Mark Yu ahead of Nico Jackson.
There it is.
I put David Washington ahead of Mark Jackson. Or Nico Jackson, whatever. See, I can't even remember his name anymore. He gone. Like, to me, if you can get 100, if we can swindle somebody into paying $100 million for Nico Jackson, shut up, take the money, and run. He's gone. He's shown that with competition, with new competition that's been brought in, he was. How quick did he last before he got red carded in the Club World Cup? 3 minutes?
Game?
3 minutes?
Oh no. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, 3 minutes.
Yep. And what happened in the match before that? His last match that he played for Chelsea before that in the Premier League. Oh, that's right. He also got a red card there too. And then he was out for the last match of the season, which we needed to win. Yeah.
Yeah, he got it was two plus the first match of next season. That's right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yep.
God.
Like, you want to talk about shooting yourself in the foot? He shot himself in both feet, both kneecaps, and both arms. Like,
so point.
There's nothing left of him. What we've seen out of João Pedro and out of Delap is more than enough to account for us getting rid of Nico. I think what we've seen out of both of them, and they both offer, slightly different things, right? João Pedro is a little bit more finesse, and Liam Delap is just, run right at you and just bully ball, right? But they have something that Nico Jackson doesn't. They can finish. They can finish. We saw Delap came on against PSG and within 30 seconds almost hit an absolute banger and then had another good chance. And they were actually good shots on target and very good saves. Like, what more do you want? To me, and he came on as a sub. João Pedro, 3 goals in 2 matches. Yeah, that's going to play. I think having both of them as options, I think, is going to be tremendous for us. And they both seem like individuals who thrive off of competition. So I think this is going to be a case of iron sharpens iron. I think they're both going to look at each other and be like, all right, you're the competition. I need to be at my best. And that's going to drive them to be better. I would be very intrigued to see what a 2 striker look would be. To me, I think that's something that would be very intriguing. I wouldn't use it often, but I think that's something that could be very enticing if we needed to have a different look or something like that. But I think the 2 signings that we made with Delap and João Pedro, I think that more than covers us getting rid of Nico Jackson.
So, Parker, ignoring do you put him ahead of Nico Jackson question, because that was a stupid question, and I apologize. Parker, what is your striker depth chart here on the 19th of July?
It wasn't a stupid question. It was just a leading question. You knew what the answer was going to be.
I just made sure that we got there very quickly.
Correct. So I think it's a great question, and I don't know that it's finalized. And I think Maresca is going to treat it very open. And I think we're going to see different looks for the first 6 matches of the year. So I think he's figuring this out in real time as well. But I don't think you can argue with who he started against PSG and his performance against PSG being a goal. And not just a goal, but a goal that he takes first touch off of that pass from Cole Palmer. He took no touches. And the first thing I thought, well, sorry, not the first thing I thought. The first thing I thought was pandemonium because I was at a fucking packed pub and it was just absolute chaos, right? The first thing I thought when I actually got like a real thought to myself was Nico Jackson takes a touch there. He does. He takes a touch and he tries to go around and he screws it up, like, or something happens. So Nico didn't always fuck it up, but like something happens with that after he takes a touch. And Joao Pedro doesn't take that touch and he slots, he chips the keeper and it's just brilliant, right? And it's that third goal. Not that we needed a third goal in that moment, but God, was it helpful to have a third goal. And it's PSG. I mean, again, my habitual betting friend at halftime, 3-0 up, he said bettors aren't calling this because he's looking at the live odds of what the game is looking. He's like, bettors aren't calling this. Bettors aren't like throwing in the towel for PSG. There's still like decent odds for them to win if you bet on them to win, right? So still PSG, but like, man, that third goal helped a ton. So I think Pedro gets the nod starting day, if you will, or if there was a community shield, I don't know that we would be playing for a community shield, but you know what I mean. Like if there was a game that we had to play it tomorrow, then I think Pedro gets it. But look, I think Liam Delap is going to be at worst Nico comp or someone that can slot in and play his role where it's like a high potential role and get his sometimes and see how he kind of pans out sort of dude. And if that's the case, and we got Liam Delap for 30 mil and we can sell Nico for anything close to 100, now we're just looking at good business. So if we sell him for 70, which is a far cry off of what we're looking for, and we got Liam for 30, that's just a pure upgrade in every sense of the way. So, and then adding Joao Pedro is just like, throwing salt on our enemies, which is just so much fun to do. We haven't been able to do it in a minute, and it's been great.
Yeah, and I think Nico Jackson still features into that equation, right? I think it's just based off of what we saw in this Club World Cup and kind of the vibe he already has with Cole Palmer. Like, that's a bromance that's like budding here. You saw it a couple times. Joao Pedro is your starting number 9. But then I think it's a 1A, 1 or a 2A, 2B in Nico Jackson and Liam Delap. It's what do you need in that moment? What do you need off the bench? While Joao Pedro has some feistiness to him, he's got some size to him, he's got some strength. Liam Delap will fuck you up. It would not surprise me to see him just throw somebody to the ground on a corner every single time. If you need that, we got that. If you need somebody who's going to run the channels, get himself into position, I think Nico Jackson's your guy. But we've also seen Nico Jackson when he gets in his own head and gets frustrated. He red card, he'll walk around the pitch. So while right now in my head it's a 2A, 2B, could very clearly become a 1, 2, 3.
Fair.
But Hugo Ekitike, now off the market, by the way, going to Liverpool, who have now spent 350 million pounds in this market or in this window. So that's a striker off the board for us. We are still linked to a couple of attackers. Do we need a 9? Do we even need an attacker? What do you guys think we do over the next 6 weeks on the attacking front? We already know we need defenders and keepers and all that, but on the attacking front, do you think we do anything? Do we go after anybody in particular?
I never thought I would say this. I think we possibly need a winger. Noni's gone. Raz is coming back from loan, but he's going to be gone. Nobody knows where in the world is Mykhailo Mudryk. Nobody knows what's happening with that. So you have Neto, you have Palmer.
I forgot about Gittins. That's crazy.
By the way, Matt Law in an interview said that his sources inside Chelsea see him as the starting left winger day one. So just FYI on that.
Interesting. So if that's the case, fine. Esteval, I think it's still going to take him some time to get acclimated to Premier League. So I wouldn't consider him like somebody who I would throw out there right away. Definitely, as a sub if needed, but I'm trying to think of like with our schedule with our match schedule and what it's going to look like in a very congested season next year, you need, I think, top tier, more so now than we did before. And I think losing two wingers, one of them was your starter with Noni, and with nobody knowing what the future holds for Mudryk, I think you need to shore that up a little bit. So I would be okay with somebody on the wing. And we go back to the question: what is Cole Palmer's best position? Is it on that right wing? Is it as a 10? I don't know.
Yeah, the way you phrase the question, Collins, as far as attackers, I totally agree with Matt. I think it's a right winger. But like depth wise, this is assuming we line up the way we lined up against PSG, where it's like Reece James plays a midfield role next to Caicedo, where I think like right back and this actually I should say this backwards. Left back and or right back needs some help as well. I don't think we have a solid backup for Cucurella right now, and I think we need one. And right now we've got like Malo Gusto as our starting right back, and then Reece James in the midfield. I know Reece James can play as a right back and then have like a Lavia or whoever, but like the way we're lining up today, we're gonna need a little bit more depth in that position because it's covering up our winger needs by having Cole Palmer play a right winger.
So I get that absolutely. I think Cole Palmer's being pushed into the attack, and I think greatly so. I think that is his best position when he's allowed to be out on the right and then float in to the middle and congest things, find pockets. I think it is a left winger that we need. I don't think it's a right. You got Estebao, you got Cole Palmer, you got Pedro Neto. Now Neto can obviously play both. Gittins is going to be your starter on the left. You got Tyreek George, who has said publicly, I'm not going on loan. I'm learning from these guys here. That's what I want to do. So I think it's got to be somebody on the left. And I think that lends credence to the Garnacho links, to the Morgan Rogers links. There's one other one we've been linked to, and I can't remember off the top of my head who it is. And I would not mind a swap deal. Well, I take that back. UEFA said we can't do that for the next couple of years, but
they didn't say we can't. They said they're going to scrutinize it. They have to make sure that the fair value is assessed there, right?
Nico Jackson for Morgan Rogers.
Yeah,
wouldn't mind it at all. I think then you shore up on that left side. You've got somebody who's Premier League proven. You've got somebody who's played at a high level in the Premier League. Garnacho, I don't foresee as that guy. But Morgan Rogers, who is good friends with Cole Palmer. And part of me thinks that we're starting to build this team like the Bucks are building here in Milwaukee, where it's, who does Giannis want? Does it work? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But I'm okay with building this team around Cole Palmer, especially in a game where things are so team-based, where you need to know the guys around you. Bring in some more guys who are familiar with our best player. So left side for me.
Bobby Portis is our is Uncle Tos in this team.
That's fair.
So,
That's gonna make sense to almost nobody, but that's fine.
Who's the Thanasis?
Does Cole have a younger brother?
No, just an older one, Uncle Tos. Before we get to the defense, I got two more things I want to talk about, guys. It's the midfield and then the defense. Midfield. We saw Reece James line up in the midfield. We've seen, the Lavia, Caicedo, Enzo. We saw a little bit of Andre Santos. Saw Cole Palmer in the midfield. What's your opening day based on what's there right now and how they played in the Club World Cup and this season in general? What's your midfield? Is it a 2? Is it a 3? Who are you putting there?
Lavia, Caicedo, Enzo.
Matt frozen, or is he just staring at me?
Oh, he's frozen.
yeah, you guys froze on me. I was like, did you hit a time limit?
Sorry. Go ahead, Matt.
Matt, is your midfield a 2 or a 3? Who are you putting in it?
Collins, I'll go, or who plays what position anymore? That's what I want to know.
Exactly.
Fair.
Like who does what? If we're looking just at what they should be, I like the combination. Definitely Enzo and Caicedo, right? Those two, I don't think any of us are going to argue. I think who's that third person? God, that's tough. because Santos played very well. I wanted to see more of who's the new defensive mid that we got? Isugu?
Dario
Yeah,
Isugo.
Dario.
Yeah.
I wanted to see more of him because I think that would be a lot of fun. Like try getting past that midfield with Caicedo and that would be a tall order. And then Lavia, when he can play, he has performed very well. But the question is, when can he play? I think based on what I saw with the Club World Cup, I think you're still going to end up running Caicedo, Enzo, and I would like to see Andre Santos as well. But I mean, I like having the flexibility that we have. Sugo, I like that we'll have somebody who can hopefully give Caicedo a break so he doesn't have to play so much with the hectic schedule that we're going to have. But I like the depth that we have in the midfield right now. I think it works well. If Lavia can be healthy, that is going to be a scary midfield to try and go up against.
Yeah. I like the way Lavia played this year. It's a 3 for me. Palmer is in the attack, so he's not one of them. But Matt, as you said, Enzo, Caicedo, lock it. Nothing's changing that. I've been shouting from the rooftops since he signed 3 years ago now. Andre Santos, start this man. At the age of 18, his first preseason tour with us was locked in, one of the best passers in a squad. And now he's done it at I hate to say the big league level, but Liga 1 level, one of the best midfielders in all of France. By the way, he beat PSG twice in the last 6 weeks. Strasbourg, of course, beat them at the end of the season. Santos is fun, and I pay a lot of attention to the post game players walking around the pitch and interacting with each other. Him, Enzo, and Caicedo are very close already, and I think it's a South American thing. Obviously, Andre Santos may not speak Spanish, but Portuguese is close, and they all have the same cultural background, give or take. Coming from that part of the world. I like the camaraderie between those three, so he's my third there.
The telling moment for me in this PSG match, I don't know if you guys saw it or caught it. There was a time when Santos was on for Enzo, and so he was playing with Caicedo, and both Santos and Caicedo were kind of like tracking back to defend, and instead of Caicedo stepping in, Santos went and made a slide tackle, and it was kind of one of those like, oh, I know this guy's got it. Like he backed off because he knew his guy got it, and Santos did, and it was that trust already that really like spoke volumes to me about like where he's at, where arguably the leader of our team thinks he's at, and like I think Caicedo would have overstepped his grounds if he didn't think that Santos had that ball. So vote of confidence from one of the most telling voices on our team in a big moment too.
Absolutely. And so then turning to who would have been that last line of defense, obviously the defense. We mentioned wing backs. I don't know if we need another center back. We've got 8,000 center backs. And are they good? We don't know. Probably use a good one. Assume we need a good one. But we need depth on the wings. Probably both right and left. So kind of like with the attacking question, who are you going for? What position are you going for? Is there anybody in particular that you want in this squad at wing back?
The hard part about Cucurella is he's been really good. And it's not a hard part, but like, he's very much solidified in the starting lineup for us. Like he's one of our best players. We've talked about this ad nauseum. I think the right is more open. So I don't know if that means you go get there because we have more depth there. And so it's kind of a weird one, but like we need depth on the left. We need a second wing back or left back there. I think the right is still, door half open. I don't think Malo Gusto's done enough to fully solidify it. Reece James, we'll see what he does there, and we'll see what he's able to do in a full season if he's able to play a full season. So I'll just say that the door is more open on the right. We have a more dire need on the left.
Yeah, and I've harped on it enough too of running both of your right backs together in the same match. I don't like it, and to take it one step further, you're running both your right backs and technically your backup left back in the same match, because Malo Gusto plays on the left as well. So you're basically depleting like your entire left back and right back in one match if you're playing both right backs. I do think that we need some sort of a backup for Cucurella. Not that we need somebody to overtake him, because he's been brilliant, but you need somebody to give him a couple days off here and there. I don't know what the situation is with Renato Viega. I don't know what he's looking like, if anything. So I definitely think the left, the right, I think we can manage on the right, because we do have enough center backs, and if we need to in a pinch, Trev can always play that right back at a pretty decent level. So I'm Parker, I'm kind of with you. I think the more apparent need is definitely on the left side than it is on the right.
Champong can play on the right too, it seems like. So
Yeah, that was kind of my thought. Is we've got 3 right backs, and we've seen it. You've got half a right back too if you want to throw Caicedo back there. Levi Colwell, though, is not a good backup on the left. I never want to see him there ever again. So I think we definitely need someone there, but that's such a weird position where I think there's only maybe 2 or 3 like world class. I would take them in a heartbeat players on my squad if I was like fantasy drafting. Alphonso Davies being one of them. Grimaldo is a second, and then Cucurella would be the third. So I don't think you're looking to replace Cucurella, but finding a backup would be interesting. And so I think you need a veteran at that point, because I'm sure there's people coming through Cobham who will play a few games. Why not go raid Aston Villa, right? They're the ones who have issues with PSR in England, and they need to sell, and go get Ian Matson back. Go get Lucas Digne, whatever it is. Yeah, somebody in the Premier League who could fill a role. Just get some depth. I don't think you need to improve on that position, or on right back for that matter. Get some warm bodies who know what they're doing. Well, boys, a little overtime today. That's okay. That happens. Club World Cup champions, Intercontinental champions, Matt, whatever the hell you want to call it. But Parker, any closing thoughts?
I do have closing thoughts. And it comes by me referencing a tweet before the final against PSG. And it says, "We were sanctioned. We were forced to change ownership. Our club was nearly erased from existence. We endured an entire rebuild and mocked for the path we were forced to take. Today we could be crowned world champions. Today is a day for the true fans who endured it all. #Chelsea." And boy, even reading that today, after knowing what happened, still gives me chills. Holy shit. Like, we have been through a lot, boys. We started this pod right after we decided to start this pod right after we won Champions League. And it has been a road since then. And this moment, this match was a chance for us to kind of finally get it back on the uprise. And we've been through a whole lot to get there. And celebrating with a bunch of strangers who all got together and wore the same colors at a pub was something that I can't even explain. It was just great. And it's been fun to celebrate it with you guys. Like, it's been awesome to be able to, show the pride and show, the amount of emotion that comes from winning a big championship like this, and then hopefully what it can mean for us going forward and winning a league, winning another, Champions League, and so on and so forth. So thank you for tweeting that, Collins. I appreciate the amount of sentiment that went into that, and I know a lot of people reacted to that positively, and I was one of them. So it was a big day for us, and we proved all the people wrong, proved the bettors wrong, proved all the pundits wrong, and came out and won emphatically. A 3-0 win. It was awesome.
Fantastic closing thought. Matt, you've been bumped to next week.
If I'm here.
Fair. Make sure to subscribe so you can find out next week if Matt is here or not. Find us anywhere you get your socials at Flag Down Pod. Of course, wherever you get your podcasts. So, boys, we get to say it for 4 more years. We are the champions, world champions. Cheers, and we'll talk to you next whenever.
Cheers, boys.
Later. Out of curiosity, does